The general manager, Brad Holmes, speaks. We'll hear from him today on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening, everybody? Matt Dery with you. It is a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, Tuesday, January 10th and a Wednesday, January 11th. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. We are brought to you today by our friends at PrizePicks. Locked On Lions brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. That's prizepicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. You can follow us on Twitter at Dery Speaks, D-E-R-Y Speaks, at Locked On Lions on Twitter. The Matt Dery Facebook fan page. Shout out to Dr. Mark Siegel. Forgot to mention him yesterday. Big fan of the show. And also the YouTube channel. Locked On Lions YouTube, thank you for commenting, watching, and subscribing to the channel. Coming up on the show today, we'll react to some things that Brad Holmes had to say. Holmes on Holmes, the Lions general manager, spoke today for about 30 minutes. We're going to play you sort of an introductory comments on the season, and we'll respond to that coming up momentarily. Also, Holmes on Jared Goff is very important in the future of the Lions quarterback situation. Ross Tucker is going to join us tomorrow from FanDuel and Westwood One and the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. All of that coming up on the show today. I am still so excited for this football team and for the future. I know I keep repeating myself. And a friend of mine, my buddy Al, who listens all the time, was like, hey, your postcast was so passionate. The buzz around this town for this football team is just incredible. And it's so disappointing to be at the gym where all the TVs are on and they're previewing games already and they're talking about San Francisco, they're talking about Seattle, all of these things. And the Lions should be playing. It's almost like we feel like the team was robbed of not being in the playoffs. And look, let's be honest. They started 1-6. The Seahawks beat them earlier this year. They had some clunker games, including the Carolina game, which I'm sure a lot of guys are kicking themselves about. But all in all, this football team deserves some flowers and where it's going. And the general manager, Brad Holmes, deserves a lot of credit. I should eat some crow. I said, what are you re-signing Alex Anzalone for? Guy played really well. What are you bringing Khaled Raymond back for? Why are you botching and butchering the backup quarterback situation and the kicking situation? Turned out Brad Holmes has had 2 excellent drafts, and he's built and helped build a nice foundation with this football team. And he spoke earlier today, and here are some of his comments courtesy of DetroitLions.com.
Just in regards to the season, obviously finishing up at 9-8, 5-1 within the division, it's an improvement. I believe it is a step in the right direction, and it's another step to where we want to go. But we still have work to do, and but I do think that we're just getting started. I think we're just getting started, and we're just going to keep going up from here. Last year, a foundation was laid, a culture was put in place, but this year, in and off, I think the standard is set now. I believe a standard set, and that standard is not going to be compromised. It's not going to be compromised no matter what, and it's a standard of who's on this team, who's in this building, a standard of who's on this staff, and all of that's earned. And I think everybody did earn that this year, and couldn't really be proud of it. You always talk about, we have a plan, and we have a plan in place. And we said it a lot last year. We have a plan. But really, when you have a plan, it has to work. And there's times where you might start questioning that plan. If the plan's not working, don't keep doing it because it's not working. But we stayed committed to our plan, and we had a disciplined approach. And we thought that even through the dark times, we saw enough growth that let's just stay committed, let's stay the course, don't waver. And I think that's exactly what our team did. And I think the adversity that came along with that, that's really what shaped us. So again, I'm just proud of everything, of what everybody did. With that plan, I remember at 1-6, everybody they were ready to ride us off, but nobody ever wavered. Everybody stayed the course, and I think they were resilient with the adversity that we all faced. And, we made a commitment to build this thing the right way. And sometimes the right way, it's the hard way. But it's just the right way, and we stayed committed to it. And we saw the growth, and we just stayed patient. And like I said, we just had a disciplined approach, and I think towards the end you started to see it really materialize. So it was good to see. But I'll take any questions.
Brad, with that plan, some themes have kind of emerged with your free agency approach, a lot of prove-it deals and retention of your own guys that you know. I'm wondering, as you kind of evolve into this next layer of contention, I guess, does the free agency plan evolve in any way with that?
No, it really doesn't. We're always going to be very strategic and selective with our approach. Even back, regardless of how many resources you have, how much money you can spend, we always are very selective and strategic with how we go about free agency. And that's upcoming UFAs that are on our team, as well as, external ads. But it's always going to be the same approach. And I think we've kind of proven that. Obviously, year one didn't have as many resources at our disposal, but we were very selective about who were the right guys and being very selective about, all right, Alex Anzalone, he's the right guy. Khalif Raymond, he was the right guy. Charles Harris, he's the right guy. It's not that it was just a prove-it one-year deal, but it was the right guy. There was a ton of other options for, prove-it one-year deals, but we just are really, really strategic and selective in who getting those right guys, and we'll continue that same plan.
You prioritize bringing back your own free agents, because that could be a similar approach going forward with the importance of those guys to the culture you built here, and I think especially with Chark and Kaminsky, there's some questions. Are those guys priorities for you?
Yeah, I mean, those guys had good years. And look, as long as they're fits for our culture and what we're trying to build and where we're going, yeah, absolutely. Now, like I say all the time, those guys are UFAs for the whole league. So, obviously we know them and they know us. And I know a lot of those guys that want to come back. I pretty much me and Ray Agnew met with all of our guys that are coming up on expiring deals. And, majority of them, they express interest in wanting to come back. But I don't ignore the reality of, there's other elements of that business that, we're going to have to deal with. But it was cool to hear because those guys believe in what we're doing, and they believe it's the right way. They like how they're treated. They can be themselves, and it was just cool to hear that they think that we're doing it the right way. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes. But hopefully we can get a lot of those guys back.
You saw Jared Goff as the guy here. Even when some people might not have saw it, they might saw him as a bridge guy. You said all along you saw him as a guy for the future. I guess, what did you learn about him this year? And just, entering his situation this year, like, how confident are you guys, to make, a decision on what you need to do with him as well?
Yeah, I don't really know what the decision is. I was always confident in him because I've been with him from the get-go since he was drafted back when I was with LA. I just kind of know how resilient and mentally tough he is. And, I think a lot of it was me knowing all the success he had in LA. I think that was kind of forgotten about a little bit when he got here. And I think he was put in a very tough situation. I don't want to say I don't know how many quarterbacks in that situation that, he was in last year, but we had a lot of injuries, man. And, we didn't really have the weapons around him. Dan had to really make a very tough decision on the staff offensively and make a change there. So, and he stayed the course. I've talked to you guys about this at length, but knowing what he's made of, that's why I kept faith, kept confidence, and I respect the hell out of him because I told him, look, we'll hold up our end of the bargain. Like we were being held accountable. We got to put you in the right situation with the right pieces around you. Stability on offense, and felt like we did that. And he held up his end of the bargain, and I think it just worked out. But I didn't really have any doubt or waver. Again, like you said, Eric, I never really deemed him as a bridge. I think everybody else did, but I think it's a little bit of the recency bias from what he had to go through last year.
All right, so there's Brad Holmes talking about a lot of different subjects, including free agency and Jared Goff. I want to respond to some of that, and we will do that coming up next. First, though, we want to tell you about our friends at PrizePicks again. Daily fantasy that is so much fun, and you don't just have to play NFL. All right, you can do this daily fantasy with entries and stuff for college basketball, for NBA with the Pistons, with the Wings, and the NHL. It's all there and there for you this weekend, especially with the playoff games Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night at PrizePicks. It's a lot of fun. You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less in their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. You don't compete against other people, just against the projections, all right? This goes for like women's college hoops, soccer, WNBA, boxing, everything. Euro basketball they've got. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Just download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. And our friends at TurboTax are back with us here on Locked On Lions today. Shout out to TurboTax. Go to TurboTax. Don't do your taxes. Meet with an expert who will do them for you. TurboTax experts can relieve you from the stress of taxes and file for you so you can do not taxes. Show your eyes things that are not taxes. Unpack a moving box of no taxes. Taste, not taxes. Singing, not taxes, a lullaby. Hope, not taxes, sleeps through the night. Grab a saddle and ride, not taxes, into the sunset. With TurboTax, an expert will do your taxes from start to finish, ensuring your taxes are done right, guaranteed so you can relax. Feels good to be done with your taxes, doesn't it? Come to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more. Intuit, TurboTax, full-service products only, video meeting while expert does your taxes required. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. All right, so Brad Holmes, the Lions general manager, just spoke at length. We played you the first part, about 7-8 minutes of it. And there was more, certainly. Maybe we'll dive into some more tomorrow. But some key things right there. And then I want to add one thing on the Jared Goff situation. Number one, he was asked, and I'm not going to play you the whole thing, but you can go to TroyLions.com or YouTube to see it. But he was asked about drafting a quarterback. First and foremost, Jared Goff is the guy, period. If there's anybody out there, including Carlos from the Free Press, clown show, but regardless, the Lions are not drafting a quarterback at number 6 or number 18 unless they're so in love with them and going to sit him for a couple of years like Jordan Love. Jared Goff's here. Jared Goff's under contract for a couple more years. And you heard Brad Holmes say it. He's been with them since he started with LA. Grit, determination, everything that Jared Goff has. He was not given the proper weapons last year. And now this year he took a team to a 9-8 record and played remarkably well. All right. Jared Goff is not considered league-wide or even by fans to be an elite quarterback. All right. You be plenty of people that do those off-season lists coming up in February and March and April, and Jared Goff won't be on it. He won't be in the top 10. He won't be in the top 5. Maybe top 12. We'll see. All right. From a statistical standpoint this year, he was a top 10 quarterback. He played very well. But there's going to be lists that have people like Justin Fields, the Hall of Fields, ahead of him. There'll be people. Remember when the Lions beat the Bears in Chicago, and the aforementioned Free Press columnist wrote that the Lions need their Justin Fields. Meantime, Jared Goff helped win the game and didn't throw a pick 6 like the Hall of Fields did. Jared Goff's not going anywhere. Brad Holmes did not rule out drafting a quarterback to sit behind Goff and learn. He didn't rule that out. That's a smart thing to say to the public right now because the Lions do own the number 6 pick. And maybe they can continue to put smoke screens out there about liking people. And maybe we'll hear national writers and draftniks and local writers say, oh, the Lions worked out Will Levis. They love him. And then another team will come calling and say, we got to move up to 6. We got to get the quarterback. All right. Maybe Stroud and Young go quickly. Maybe the Colts at 5 get a quarterback. There will be other teams, Washington and others, that are going to need a QB. What if Tua retires due to all these concussions? And Miami needs a quarterback. There's teams that need a QB. Vegas, Raiders, right? I think the Raiders actually draft ahead of the Lions, but you know what I mean. Put the smoke screen out there. Yeah, we're not ruling that out. But Jared Goff is the guy in Brad Holmes' eyes as far as free agency goes and what Brad Holmes just had to say. It doesn't sound like this team is ready to start doling out big money deals and long-term deals in free agency. First year, it's like, look, why add free agents to long-term deals when you're in a rebuild and you're starting over? The Lions did not do that. Like he said, Anzalone, Khalif Raymond, Charles Harris got 2 years. But originally got 1 year. All these guys got 1 year deals the first year. This past year, Charles Harris got 2 years. The Lions re-upped Taylor Decker long-term. But guys like Anzalone, Raymond, and others were brought back. They were brought in on 1 year deals in 2021. They were brought back on 1 year deals in 2022. There is one guy that I think that Brad Holmes mentioned that I don't think is coming back. And I think will warrant a longer term deal and more money than I think the Lions want to give him. And that player is a name you'll want to hear after I tell you about BetOnline. You like that tease? That was a Karshian tease right there. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and World Cup. All of this stuff, we've got it all for you at betonline.net. Hey, college bowl season ended. How about Georgia last night? And by the way, Michigan fans, don't tell me you would have beaten Georgia and done better than TCU. You would have done better than TCU. I think Berkeley High School would have done better than TCU. But nobody was beating Georgia. Anyway, if you still love sports podcasts, you can find those as well at BetOnline. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Get all the lines to NBA and NHL, college football, college basketball, the NFL games this weekend. You want to bet on them, you want to see the trends and the action, go to betonline.net. You go to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so you heard Brad Holmes mention the name DJ Chark. DJ Khaled signed a 1 year, $10 million contract with the Lions this offseason. He left the Jacksonville Jaguars and went to the Lions. All right. It was a smart move for Chark. And he'll have a market this offseason. How would you characterize DJ Chark's season this year? There were times he looked good. He was also injured at times, and other times I look at this and go, next year, DJ Chark isn't coming back. Is DJ Chark going to take less money? Is DJ Chark going to sign another 1 year, $10 million deal? I doubt it. I think DJ Chark is going to look for 3 at 30 or 3 at 33 or something like that. He helped elevate the wide receiver room. There were games he played quite well. There were also games where he didn't play all that well and he didn't do much. Had his moments, certainly. I think he's going to leave because the Lions have Jamison Williams. The Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown. You think Khalif Raymond's leaving? He's coming back. They love him. He'll be back. Josh Reynolds and Jared Goff have a relationship. I think he'll be back. Tom Kennedy, the guy has 9,000 lives. He'll probably be out there. The Lions have receivers. Quintez Cephas has another year left on his deal. I look at this receiving core and I see Jamison Williams taking the DJ Chark spot next year and playing more and getting more opportunities and getting more snaps because he didn't play all that much this year. And when he came back, Jameson Williams from the ACL, it was a bit of a logjam because there were players ahead of him, including Chark. So if there's one guy that I don't see being retained, I think Anzalone would come back. I think Raymond will be back. I think Kaminsky will be back. There's a lot of guys that I think would come back and have gotten opportunities here. DJ Chark, I don't see it. I think the Lions would be wise to spend that money, double-digit $1 million elsewhere, and put Jameson Williams in that spot where DJ Chark was. That's my 2 cents. I promised you the PFF top performers. We're going to do that tomorrow. We got Ross Tucker tomorrow. This has been a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for making us your first listen. Shout out to anybody that I forgot on yesterday's shout out list. I know I mentioned Dr. Mark Siegel, Dan Zeck. There's some others I keep forgetting, but thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow with Ross Tucker.